Hello, welcome to Vahagraphy Talk. What's going on, Thomas? Thomas
Oh,
Heaton
are
in
we
the
live? Is this on?
house.
Yeah.
Yes, we
My
are.
first live stream podcast, I think. I might have done one or two others, but yeah, it's good. Things
This,
are going well.
this is your first live stream podcast.
I think so. Usually these things are pre-recorded, so I could then email the host and say, "Hey, man, do you mind if you edit out that bit I said about Sony?" So we
No.
can't do that. I'll have to keep stum.
There's no editing here, man. It's all live. And by the way, if you want to check out the chat right there, you can see the comments.
Oh, how do I do that? Hang on, I'm on private chat. Oh,
If you go to,
there we go.
yeah.
Oh, get in.
So Chuck's on his way. Guys streaming in, thank you for being here. Our co-host Chuck Eaton is on his way, running a little bit of late, but man, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm just distracted by some of the comments. I think people are chatting amongst themselves in the comments, and I'm reading them, going, "What?" Yeah, sorry, I'm good. I've had an afternoon nap, and I feel fresh.
Well, you're in the UK. What time is it? Right, 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, 6
6
p.m.
p.m. Nice. So when I announced that you'd be on here live, people were like, "Oh man, I've been following Thomas for for so long." People are so excited, and then I got emails saying, "Hey, can you have Thomas on? We'd love to have him on live." So here you go, he's live.
Well, here I am.
So tell us about photography. Tell us about landscape and what you're doing.
Oh
Now.
man, well, where to begin? Like, do you ever have a dream of just doing what you love for a living, and then somehow you just do one thing, and then that leads to another thing, and then this snowball thing happens, and now I'm a full-time professional landscape photographer and filmmaker, and never intended to be. I used to work in an office, man, and I just would like daydream about being a professional photographer / video maker, both, either or. And yeah, I had this fantasy of owning a 4x4 vehicle. Nothing major, like I never had big wealth aspirations, something like a Suzuki Vitara, which I used to have, and just driving around making films. And somehow now it's the case that that's what I do, just not in a Suzuki Vitara. So yeah.
Oh, nice. So what do you primarily shoot Fuji?
Yeah, man, I think that's all I shoot. Well, I've got a few different cameras. All of my video work is Fuji, so X-T4, and then I've got an X-T3 which I've just converted to infrared. So that's like phenomenal. That's my new thing at the minute, my new obsession. And then I've got my main camera, which is the Fuji GFX 50R. But I also shoot some film as well. So I've got a Hasselblad 501 CM. And I have a Fuji GX617, which is this big medium format panoramic camera. It looks like a regular camera, but on steroids. This thing's huge. So yeah, I have a collection of cameras.
Wait, you shoot film?
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
not all the time. Like film for me is just a bit of an indulgence. Sometimes like I like to look back. That's, I'm not a big fan of technology, and I'm not a huge fan of how it occupies our life in every way, and we become dependent on it. So every now and again, I like to just step away from it, and it's nice to know that you can. It's nice to know that you can go away for a few days without a phone, and it's nice to know that you can go and shoot photography without having to worry about charging batteries and that kind of thing. And also, you don't have to rely on technology. You can observe a scene, you can understand how the light's working, understand your subject and your composition, because when you shoot film, typically it's reversed, flipped backwards, sometimes upside down. And it's good. It's just it's a good way to polish your skills and improve your craft. And it's so satisfying. Like if you pull off a good image on film, there's nothing better. It's almost like validation. It's like, yes, I can do this. So,
that's awesome.
yeah, that's why I do it.
That's awesome. You're quite an adventurous type. I see videos of you in the snow and cold, and it's crazy stuff. So
Yeah, not too adventurous. It often looks more adventurous than it is, but you know, if you film it from the right angle, you can make it look like you're in the middle of nowhere. What you don't see is the road and then the buildings just behind you.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's not. I do like to get away from it. I'd love to live off grid.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, it's nice. I don't like crowds of people filming around. Like, I've done YouTube now for 7.5 years, there or thereabouts, and to this day, I cannot film in public. Right? So that's why I go off into the middle of nowhere, because then I can freely talk to my camera and really truly become myself. Whereas if there's a few people around me and someone might come around the corner, and it's just I get seriously stressed, and I
Look at these
lock up.
Look at these comments you're getting. Thomas is cool. You know what that means, but as and fresh. Thanks, Jet
Fresh.
Photo.
I'm not fresh. This is fresh.
How long you been doing YouTube?
Yeah, 2013. I think my first video was at the very end of 2013, so like Christmas 2013, so 2014 really. So what's that? 6, 7, 8 years? 8 years. Yeah. Oh man, where time just goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah, you have I've seen you have a van, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. So you that's interesting that you say that you go out and you don't like to talk when there's people around in public. I do that sometimes. I feel like, first of all, you see so much people looking like, is this news? Is this, what is this guy doing? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
the
People
attention.
listen. That's what gets me.
Yeah,
If you're talking to a camera, someone will stop and listen to what you're saying.
yeah.
And then that's it all goes out the window from there.
Hello, Chuck.
Hey, hello, Thomas.
Hi, Chuck. How are you?
I'm good. Rushing around here. Sorry, I'm late.
It's
No,
all right.
it's okay. I have nowhere to be, so it's fine. I'm going to read the comments. Actually, this is quite fun.
We were just talking to Thomas. Get people, commenting. How you been, man? How you been, Chuck?
Good. Just rushed around here. A couple of things going on, just keeping me busy. So trying to keep up with the live streams, and glad to be in here. Nice to meet you, Thomas, virtually at least.
Yeah. You too. Nice to meet you. I understand you're going to be the moderator and manage the comments and the questions and the phone calls. And
yeah, I kind of watch the chat and make sure everybody's voice is heard here. At least interject every now and then. Don't want to cut you off, but
you kick out the trolls.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you. This is an interesting question because why would a person go with Fuji medium format instead of Nikon Z7, Z9 for landscape photography, Robert? So
good question. Well, I mean, I was on a Canon 5D Mark IV, and when the 5D Mark IV was out, there was this sudden surge in camera manufacturers coming out with, higher megapixel sensors, more dynamic range, this, that, and the other. So back in like 2017, 2018, constantly felt like you were being left behind unless you bought a new camera every 6 months. That's how fast the market was changing. So every time I thought about buying a new camera, it felt like there wasn't any point in buying a new camera, because if I wait another 3 months or 6 months, and an even better camera is going to come out, and that cycle continued. So I just never bought a new camera. But I could see all of these new cameras on the market, and the image quality was, I mean, the Canon 5D Mark IV is fantastic, don't get me wrong, but as a landscape photographer, especially the way that I display my images on YouTube is I always start off with my image displayed at 100%. So you can see all the detail. And I tried a Fuji GFX years and years ago, and I was astounded at the image quality. Like, it was phenomenal. So yeah, like once you see that quality and the medium format sensor that just takes in so much more light, and the dynamic range, the colors, and also Fuji's are great to use.
Greg Wilson, Nature Photographers. Big question, Thomas. Are you going to switch to Nikon? And then Mike Farwell says, why would he switch?
This is the problem with the internet. Yeah, I might switch to Nikon.
Really?
Here's the thing. I love my Fuji. I really do. But I went to Iceland recently. When did I go to Iceland? I think it was April, I went, and my mate Thor, who's this great Icelandic photographer, he was shooting with a Canon, I think he had the R5, and it was unbelievable image quality. But what got me, what really made me think I might need to switch systems, is the fact that he had this 100 to 500 millimeter lens, that Canon RF 100 to 500, which was about this big, like the size of a 70 to 200. But the image quality was phenomenal. It was sharp front to back. He was showing me images that he was shooting at 500 mil, and they were unreal. And I'm like, the problem with the Fuji system is you don't have the reach, right? The longest lens I have for Fuji is a 200 mil. And when you look at that in full frame terms, it probably works out, oh, God knows, maybe 150, 160 mil, something like that. And as a landscape photographer, you want a long lens so you can really pull out those landscapes that you see in the distance. And anyway, so I thought, I'm missing out here. Like, I want that reach. So I looked at the Canon R5, and man, the price was unreal. It was so expensive. And I think what you're paying for is a lot of the video features in there and everything. So I went down the rabbit hole of looking at other cameras, and one thing led to another. And there was the Nikon Z7 Mark II. I was like, okay, this looks interesting. And it's like this big, it's really small and lightweight, which is perfect for me. And oh man, let me know if I'm wrong in the comments. But if there's a lens, what is it, 24 to 120 or something like that? It's really obscure lens, but apparently it's phenomenal. And I was like, hang on a minute, I can have a body that's this big and weighs like 600-700 grams. I can have two lenses, a 24 to 120, and then I think they do a 100 to 400.
Yeah,
that's it. And all of this is affordable, relatively speaking, affordable compared to Canon's prices. No complaints from image quality from what I've read and seen online. And it's just like, it's just like such a versatile system. So then I have to think to myself, okay, well, what am I going to lose by switching from the GFX medium format to going back to full frame, essentially? And I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. Like, if I can get my hands on a Z7 Mark II and just have a play with it,
try it out first.
Don't think I'd see a massive difference.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So Thomas Heaton might use an Nikon in the future, guys. There you go. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I'm not really loyal to brands. Just whatever system works best. And I looked at Sony, looked at Canon, looked at Nikon, and of course Fujifilm. And yeah, just having that amount of versatility with literally two lenses and a body that's lightweight, compact, and everyone raves about the image quality from the Z7. So,
Jeffrey asked, do you publish your work in certain magazines, or are you sponsored by anyone?
Well, I'm not sponsored. I suppose my YouTube channel is sponsored. That's how I make a living. It's through sponsorships. But I have an ambassadorship with Case Filters, which is good. And I work with Shimoda, who make bags, but I'm not really sponsored by them. But I do have an affiliate link, which is quite helpful. In terms of publishing my work in magazines, it's really few and far between. I do write articles for magazines. I've just done one recently for a publication here in the UK called Amateur Photographer. They're always fun to do because it's nice just to do something outside of what I usually do. It's such a strange world that I operate in, because you start off wanting to be a professional photographer, and the road to that is commissions, magazines, commercial work. But then when you become successful on social media, you don't need those commissions anymore. So you don't need the magazine publications. You don't need to do commercial work. I can literally shoot what I want when I want, and as long as people appreciate it and get value from it, then that's all you need to do.
Jet Photo asks, do you have a spare roll of 127 film from
127? I've got 120. 127. What's that? No, not 127. I don't even know what 127 is. Maybe I'm just not down with the lingo. But no, sorry, I'm not that. Yeah, I don't have that much gear.
Yeah, man. I wanted to ask you about the YouTube thing. So you've been doing it for about 8-9 years.
7 or 8, not 8 or 9.
7 or 8.
Don't make me sound older than I am.
Okay. Do you publish regularly?
Yeah, I never used to. It starts off as a hobby and then just develops into something more. And then I made a decision quite a few years ago that if I was gonna do it, I would do it consistently. So yes, I publish once a week. And it's good. I mean, sometimes it's difficult to keep up with the schedule, but most of the time it's okay.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Cool.
How about appearances with Photo Tripper?
Oh yeah, man, I'd love to. He's just bought a bloody church, so I think he's going to be occupied for the next year or two while he converts his church. Maybe I'll go.
Those are a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, no, he's great.
Thomas, Ray asks, is there any part of the UK which you like to most photograph?
Yeah, it depends on the season, really. I mean, you can't beat the northwest of Scotland. It's really far away, which is nice. It feels incredibly remote. And if you go there in late October, early November, you're at risk of quite bad weather. But man, the colours are phenomenal, and the landscape is out of this world. So if you get a good day in Scotland in sort of late October, early November, there's nowhere better. It's fantastic.
Nice. I'll ask you about. I was gonna ask you this, and you don't have to answer me, but I'm just curious. I see a lot of videos being sponsored by Squarespace. Is it? Yeah, Squarespace.
Yeah.
Is that pretty good sponsorship? Because I've heard rumors. Oh, they pay $10,000 or something for one. Is that BS?
Maybe bloody PewDiePie. I don't know. No, it's fair. It's I've had them as a channel sponsor for 5 years now. And yeah, they're great because I know people get sick of it. I totally get it, right? People see, oh God, another Squarespace sponsor. But if you think about the ad revenue that you get from YouTube, it doesn't even, now with the price of fuel, and in the UK now it's £2 for a litre of fuel. That's like $3 a litre or something like that, $3.50 a litre. It's extorted. It doubled in the past 2 years, and it's really difficult. So if you're looking at inflation and then you look at how much ad revenue you get from YouTube, it's not sustainable. So when sponsors come in, they say, hey, you read out our sponsor and we'll pay you for that sponsorship. And they're really flexible. I mean, if you've ever watched any of my sponsored videos, man, they are fast and loose. I'm just I don't read from the script. I don't even show any B-roll of the Squarespace interface. I'm just Squarespace, and we have a really good relationship. And I see their sponsorship very much as my wage. That's my wage. That's my annual salary. And then anything else on top of that is kind of extra or a bonus. And yeah, they don't pay. They pay the going rate.
Yeah,
which is
have you? Greg asked Thomas, have you given up using your what is it?
Edelchrome slide? Yeah, it started to stick. So it would slide and then it would just go. So gave up.
Yeah, me and Chuck, this is a Nikon. My channel is a Nikon centric channel.
All right.
Yesterday 2 days ago I was using my Fuji XH1. I took it out. It was fun to use. The Fuji has great colors. I haven't tried. Actually, I tried my friend's GFX 100. He has a GFX 100 and he loves it. He's a landscape shooter as well, and so it's great. I mean, again, we were talking about this earlier about if you're sponsored by a brand, you're kind of limited to, what you can do and say, right? So it's
Yeah.
good that you're, it has its advantages. Of course, it being sponsored has its advantages as well. Name recognition, this and that. But I'm gonna start getting into more different cameras and stuff. I think it's, if you're a photo channel, why not, right?
Yeah. I mean,
So
I'm neither for nor against people being sponsored by a camera
yeah,
manufacturer. For a lot of photographers, that's how they make a sustainable living. And I think it's right that camera manufacturers should support photographers. But yeah, we live in this weird world where, you're taking on the opinions of millions of people, which your brain isn't really wired to do that. So, if I was to suddenly get a sponsorship with Canon, and I got this Canon, people would just, there's a large number of people out there who would take great offense to that.
yeah.
And I kind of get it, I suppose, but ultimately I'm just there to take images.
So if you were to give some tips on landscape, because I don't do much landscape. I mean, I think
Yeah.
I'm more of like a portrait and concert shooting. Chuck's a wild, Chuck does all kinds of photography, wildlife, and
I do everything bad.
so what, like, if somebody's starting out, what is the number one thing you look at when you see a scene and you want to capture it? Like, obviously time of day, but do you have rules, like, okay, the rule of thirds, this and that, or
Yeah, they're helpful. Yeah, I mean,
I love that. I love that. Yeah, they're helpful.
Yeah, they're helpful, but not essential. The biggest thing is the time of day, and then recognizing the potential of a scene. So if you see something that you think, wow, this view is majestic, and then you take a photograph of that view and it doesn't look that good, well, it's probably because you're shooting at the wrong time of day. Things often look amazing to our eye, but when we photograph them, that's lost. So if you were to bear that in mind and try and visualize what you're looking at, but with beautiful golden light coming in from one side, early morning when there's mist and fog hanging around, or even a different season, that's one thing. But then obviously there's composition. Sometimes you look at a scene and you think, wow, this is phenomenal, and you're looking around and this epic landscape is amazing. And then same again, you take a big wide shot and it's all lost. So you need to ask yourself, well, what is it in particular that I'm enjoying about this view? And then you start to break down the landscape and you can hone in and work different compositions. And before you know it, you'll realize, oh, it was actually just that portion of the landscape that really got my attention. So yeah, just breaking down the landscape and trying to compose it in smaller sections, I suppose.
cool.
So a couple of people have asked in here or talked about your van, and I know I watched that as well. You must be proud of your van, but are you now hampered in traveling because of the cost of fuel, or you still out and about?
No, I'm still out and about. I mean, yeah, the cost of the van's ridiculous. The van is very thirsty. It does about, on a really good run, it'll do 20 miles to the gallon, but probably like 15. Cost of fuel, well, it's petrol, so about £1.90 odd per litre. So yeah, if I was to do a trip, just, a couple of 100 miles, if that 100 miles, it's going to cost me about, I did a trip, I went to Galloway Forest Park, so southwest Scotland, which is not far from me. It probably takes me about 2.5 hours to get there, 2.5 hours to get back. I reckon it's about 130 miles, and it cost me about £130 in petrol. So it's about £1 a mile, which is, imagine paying $1 per mile to drive. So no, I mean, it's worth it. Totally worth it. I just have to plan ahead more and really think, just is it worth it to go out in the van to this location?
Well, I mentioned the van because Davey Boy said that's what got him into photography. So that might be an interesting story there as to how, but kudos to you, Thomas.
Yeah. I mean, I got to remember as well that you sleep in the van, so it's my accommodation. So that certainly offsets a lot of the cost of the price of fuel.
Right.
Do you um do you go out alone, or do you take a photography friend with you to some of your adventures?
No, I usually just go by myself.
Mm.
I've gone out with people. I do shoot with people occasionally, but the truth is, if it's just photography, then it's fine. But if I'm filming a video, then I need to work by myself because it's incredibly difficult to make the videos that I make when there's somebody else with you hanging around, or because I'm very indecisive. I can
Yeah,
spend easily just 20, 30 minutes on a single sequence. And
yeah,
I enjoy that, but when there's somebody else, I don't enjoy it because I feel like I'm holding them up.
yeah. They're
And
like, "Hey, man, when are you finishing? Let's go eat or something." You
yeah,
know? Hey, Mark's of Curiosity asks, "How difficult is it to come up with storylines for your videos? Do you start with a concept, or do you let the location determine your story?"
most of the time, I just let the location determine the story. So I'll just go out with my camera, and whatever happens, happens. But sometimes I enjoy sitting down and coming up with ideas so that the videos have a bit more to them. But those usually take a lot longer to film and a lot longer to plan. So I do those less often. Like I've got a video coming out tomorrow, and that was thought out, planned. I was like, okay, I'm going to title it this. This is the concept. This is the idea, and that's a real story-driven video. Whereas, yeah, most of my videos I just go out on location and shoot, and then try and build the story as it goes. And then once I've shot all the footage and I've got all my images, sometimes I'll reframe the video. So I'll basically come up with the story and the concept after I've already shot it. So I'll think, okay, well, I did, I shot a lot of sunsets over this couple of days. So that would be 2 sunsets. So, there'll be a running theme through the video. And I won't realize that until I'm back home in the edit suite. And I go, okay, so this is a good direction for the story to go. And I'll bridge it all together with voiceovers and sort of, hash together a story that way.
Yeah.
Rather than it just being a linear story where it's, okay, I went out, took this photograph, it was quite nice, then I came home, because that doesn't cut it anymore.
Because some say like, okay, you come up with the title and thumbnail first, or some say, come up with the story and then you'll get the title from the story. So
it's a
but
mixture.
to answer the viewer's question, Nilo said here, you can still buy 127 film, search on the internet. So got a
So what's the
question.
advantage of 127 film? What?
You're asking the wrong guy.
Yeah,
Jug?
I don't know.
Jug?
Oh, no idea. That's why I always rely on Roy Bigsby being in the chat.
Okay.
He has a handle on everything film ever.
Yeah. Here's an interesting question. How you guys see future of stock photography? What's your opinion on that, Thomas?
My opinion's very negative. Stock photography, didn't that die in like 2012? I remember uploading, I think it's 2010. I left my job, and I thought, well, one of the ways that I'm going to make a living, or part of a living, is to upload stock photography. And even back in 2010, it would be very difficult to get any traction and build up a collection of images. And then even when I was selling them, you wouldn't get much. You'd get like $1 or $2, $3, and there was so much competition, and there was so much resource for free images. It's especially now with AI. Have you seen that? There's a piece of software out where you can tell it what to produce, and it will produce an image. Have you seen that? I forget the name of it, but you can literally talk to a piece of software and say, make an image of a mountain with snow on the top at sunset with a river running towards it, and it will create it. So yeah, stock photography, if you're a brand and you're trying to create a publication or a printed advert.
So being a landscape photographer, it's difficult to make a living, right, off your photography.
Yeah, it's getting harder and harder as well.
Yeah.
Like it's now, I think the future of landscape photography is very much in the hobbyist sector. So it's
Just like
people who
bird.
enjoy being creative, being an artist, and being outdoors and basically expressing their creativity in the places they love. In terms of landscape photography, a publication needs an image that they can put their logo on and a picture of their new car. I think that's dead. AI is incredible. Like you can you can take a terrible image and make it, it doesn't look good to me or you necessarily. We know it's fake. But if you're a brand and you need a banner for your website, like if you're a travel website and you need a shot of, a sunset over some golden fields, it's in 10 years' time, you're just going to be able to tell a piece of software to do that, and it will create it for you. So in terms of selling your work and selling yourself as a landscape photographer, it's dead. But in terms of the hobbyist side of it, the creative side, the artistic side, and the mental health and the going out, that's not going anywhere, man. Yeah, I mean, I love photography, and I always will. I'm never going to sit on a computer and tell
a lot of photographers, some photographers, some artists, they get famous after the fact. Like they do all this work, and then they get people find out about them way when they're gone, hundreds of years later. It's artists and stuff. But you
when
can
I die, I'm going to get my QR code to my YouTube channel put on my tombstone. And then maybe I'll get famous after the fact.
You can get successful. I mean, you just have to market it right and obviously do excellent work like you do, Thomas. But market it right, making great prints, like that guy that has stores in the mall. What's his name? Chuck?
The guy, I'm sorry?
The landscape shooter that has all kinds of stores around the world.
Peter Lick.
Yes.
There you go. Peter Lick. That guy, I mean, I don't know. He claims that he sold like a $4 million picture or something.
Well, there's all the controversy over whether it's one shot or a composite. That goes on often in some of his prints. So
yeah.
I'm not a landscape photographer by any stretch of the imagination. I just don't have the eye. I have tried it, but I just don't have the eye for it. But I love looking at it. And I actually found you, Thomas, through Gary Go, I believe, who I used to enjoy watching, but now he's kind of turned into, I don't know, maybe he's busy. And I also found Paul Johnson, who I actually loved. He's just so entertaining when he's out doing his landscape
Paul G.
photography.
Johnson.
Yeah, I love it, but he's slowed down considerably. And Jason Jones. So you guys are the ones that keep me motivated, at least looking at landscape photography. I love your work.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you,
man. Your work is excellent, man. You have an eye. It's great. Love it, man.
And I think it's an art, man, because I don't think everybody can just go out and do it. It's not even easy to learn. I don't know. I can't explain it, but you have that eye. You can see something that I wouldn't see.
Yeah, you can learn that though. It's just about understanding the elements of an image, I suppose. And what you don't see is all of the failures. Although on my YouTube channel, you do see most of the failures. But
but that's what makes it real.
Exactly.
I appreciate that. I do.
Exactly. That's what makes it authentic. That's why they gravitate towards your videos and they like you, man. So
sorry,
go ahead, Thomas.
I was just going to say, I think people appreciate like real photographs. You talk about AI and Photoshop sky replacement tool and all this. Yeah, it's cool and might be good for Instagram and everything. But I think people really sort of hark back to the times when things were just more authentic. And so I do think that in terms of what I do versus what a machine can do, I don't see it as any kind of threat. But that's because I've gone down the entertainment sort of educational route rather than the commercial route. And yeah, I do. I think people appreciate it. It's the same with film photography. People appreciate film photography because it has a certain authenticity to it.
Well, that begs the question: do you see that going away? The commercial side of prints in general, since you've gravitated
no,
to the instructional and entertaining and whatever.
I think if you were, I don't know, man. I mean, there's probably a lot of psychology involved in people's buying decisions and buying choices. So if you had a new office, if you're a dentist and you've got a new office, and there's two prints. One was like this one behind me was shot on film in Scotland and on a windy beach where I had to wait a considerable amount of time for the lights and so on and so forth and have it processed and developed, printed, versus another image which was equally as pleasing but had been created by a computer. It's computer generated. I think psychologically the person buying the artwork would go for the real one because it has a bit of a story behind it. And I always see that as incredibly valuable, which is why I love telling stories as well with my images.
Hey, I wanna just take a second to thank my sponsor here, you guys in the chat.
No, not Squarespace.
Yeah. But thank you guys for being here. Hit the like button, guys, because it helps with the YouTube algorithm. So if you're enjoying this live stream right now, hit that like button. So let's see. Wow, I'm sorry, man. I'm getting so backed up with the comments. Chuck, now I know how you feel here.
Yeah.
There's so many questions here that Thomas, are you glancing at them?
Am I? Oh, I'm trying. Yeah, it's like
hold on, there was one here real quickly. Have you checked out the A7? Was it A7R4 for landscape? The Sony.
yeah,
resolution.
As well.
Okay.
64 megapixels, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm not sure. Chuck, do you know?
No, I don't know exactly. 60 would sound.
Wait, Long Rider would know that. He's a Sony shooter, right? So let's see.
I don't know. I mean, Sony's make great cameras. I don't love Sony as a brand, if I'm honest. My TV, I have a TV which is Sony, and every other day it doesn't switch on. It just doesn't want to turn on. It's brand new. I've had it a year. It's paid like 800 quid for it. It just doesn't turn on. So,
man, you seem like a very chill dude. Like just relaxed, have a couple beers and just chill, talk photography. You know what I mean? Simple.
Yeah, I don't take things too seriously, to be honest. I don't get too hung up on things. I try not to anyway.
You don't get into these heated YouTube battles?
No, God, no. No, I don't. It's mentally draining. Like I mentioned before, we're not
true.
As humans, we're not designed to take on so many opinions. We're really just supposed to take on the opinions of our family and friends, and that's how we're formed as people. As soon as you open up your consciousness to a million comments, all either good, bad, or mixed, or whatever, you just have a meltdown. So,
you're absolutely right.
Does anyone come across people who only want videographers or photographers being less sought out because of Instagram? No, I wouldn't say that, Sandra. I wouldn't. That's not what I think. Right, Chuck?
Yeah, but I think that is a question. That's that's for another episode or whatever. But yeah, it's happening. I think we are beginning to see a shift to video for everything. It's not going to happen overnight. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think prints and photography is not on its way out, but it's probably as important as video now for so many people. Just my opinion.
Yeah, there you go, Thomas. Here you go. Oh yeah, Chuck mentioned this. Thomas Van got me into photography.
Yeah, man, that's good. That was my plan all along, so it worked. I thought, I'll bring the van onto the channel, get all
Thomas,
the van lights in.
Thomas, your van was awesome. Your build was
Thank you. What's really frustrating is I've had a photography channel for 8 years, and my bloody van build video gets the most views.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Hey, you know what, Thomas? Do you find that often a photo that you don't necessarily care for seems to be a photo that everybody else just loves?
Yeah,
Is
that
that
that's
inherent with
life,
all
man.
of us?
Images, video. I publish a YouTube video and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. This is just a quick rush, bloody, just filler. Because maybe I'm going away on holiday and I need a filler video whilst I'm away. And that video gets like more views than any. And I'm like, how? This is a rubbish video. And it's same with images. Like I often comment on my own images in the video. So I'll show an image and I'll say, yeah, sadly, it didn't work out this time. And everyone's like, no, I love that. That was the best image. I'm like, what? So that's the beauty of
Does it make
photography,
you
though.
question yourself though? Because often, I have the same thing. I post a video that I think, okay, that's so, and everybody just falls in love with it, raves about it or whatever. And then I'm thinking, well, what am I seeing? What am I doing wrong here? What am I not seeing?
Yeah. So I think everyone's different. That's the beauty of it. If we all liked everything equally, if every single person in the world was shown 5 images and we had to order them 1 to 5 and they were all ordered the same, life would be very boring. So,
True.
variety, and, some people see beauty in different ways. And yeah, so I'm okay with that. I try and be less critical of myself, but yeah.
Paradiddle photography, Long Rider. I appreciate the super chat, Long Rider. Are you play any music?
Me?
Yeah.
God, no. That's terrible. Well, not got a musical bone in my body. Not a one.
Ah, nice.
No. Bone deaf. Try to play the guitar. I can play Green Day. That's it.
All right, cool.
What's that song by Green Day? That famous one. I can't remember what it's called. No, I don't know. But yeah, I learned one song on guitar.
Yep, exactly.
Albert's asking about the Fuji film there. Do you use any of the simulated film modes in the camera? And if so, what is your favorite?
I don't really. No, I just because I shoot everything in RAW and then I will process it from there. So no, I don't. Unless I'm shooting infrared, then I'll use Acros. But no, typically I just shoot RAW and then I like to wait a few days or a week and then I look at the image and then I'm a bit more objective.
Wow, there's a tip.
Bring it, yeah.
So many of us just rush right to the computer and start hacking away at a lot of photos. That's a great tip. Just let it sit and simmer.
Yeah. Or even first do one edit and then you have to leave it. You have to leave it for at least 24 hours. Because the amount of times I've processed a photograph and then come back the next day and be like, oh, what was I thinking? And then you can redo it.
Okay,
so it helps a lot.
Frames in the house. What's up, Frames? Thomas Heaton, one of my favorites on YouTube ever. Wow.
Thank you, Frames.
Frames from India. Actually, I sent him a link if he wants to join. Yeah, so your favorite lenses for shooting depends what you're shooting, right?
I don't have a favorite. It's just like as long as they're good quality, which the prices that we're all paying for lenses, they bloody well should be. Fine. It's just like it's the scene that dictates the lens. I don't have a favorite lens. No, I couldn't care less. Like I know it sounds. I think it would be different for a portrait photographer because you have a certain style and you're in control of what you're shooting. Whereas landscape photographers, we're not in control of what we're shooting. It's the elements and the environment that dictates what we shoot. And then it's like, oh, look at that thing over there. Okay, this lens, done.
Do you find any times of the year, certain times of the year, more difficult with landscape
right now?
Yeah.
Right now, like summertime, man, it's hell on earth. It's just right. If you want to go and shoot sunrise, got to get up at 3:30 in the morning. I live quite far north, so we have very early sunrises. So I want to shoot a sunset. Sunset's around about 10 o'clock at night. If I'm any distance away from my vehicle, usually, it could easily be a 2-hour, 3-hour walk from where I am. So I'll either camp out, which is fun, but the weather doesn't always suit camping out. So, summertime, you've got to get out. You might not be getting home until midnight, 1, 2 in the morning. And then if you want to shoot sunrise, you've got to sometimes get up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then if you want to shoot, a bit later in the day. It's busy, man. Everywhere's busy. The kids are off school. Everyone's on holiday. All the campsites are booked. All the hotels are booked. Every beautiful attraction is just full of people. I know if you, I don't like people having fun. I want the world to myself. I'm really bitter. I'm like, get away. The amount of times my photograph's been ruined by families having too much fun, man.
That said, what's your favorite time of the year then for landscape?
Oh, yeah. So winter, so autumn and winter, because all the people go home, which is great. So no one wants to be out because it's cold and windy, but the colors are beautiful. It's sociable, so you can, sunrise might be like sort of 7:30, 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning, and then sunset can be sort of 5, 6 p.m. So you're not out all hours of the day. You can shoot all day long because the sun remains quite low in the sky. In winter, you get atmosphere, you get snow, ice, frost. It's fantastic. You go to Iceland, right? And sunrise is at like 10:45 in the morning. If you go to Iceland at Christmas, you don't get out of bed till 10 o'clock. It's brilliant. And then it sets at like 3:30. So you have this beautiful window of like 5 hours where you can shoot all day. And then it's dark and you just either shoot the northern lights or drink, eat.
So what does a landscape photographer do in between the two best times of the day, morning and evening?
Scout or film B-roll for YouTube. Yeah.
Okay. Now, how do you love your work, Thomas? Matthew, been following you for a while, and you're a big inspiration. So, I mean,
thank you, Matthew.
Like we had Steve Perry on 2 weeks ago. Steve Perry, a wildlife shooter, and again, he has so much respect with his viewers, and I'm feeling the same with you. You had your followers have this utmost respect for what you do, and they love your work, and that's
that's the only reason that I can do what I do. Is I don't think it's because of my work. Like I don't see myself as this artist who is who does this thing for a living because I'm good. It's literally the people that watch the videos. They are the only reason I'm here. So yeah, I have a great amount of gratitude for everybody who tunes in every week. People who have read my book, people who email me and Instagram, and I'm terrible at replying. My inbox is a mess. I think I've got like over 1,000 unread email. I'm just really bad. But I really appreciate it. I try to reply to most people, although I admittedly do fail at that. Yeah, man, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for these people. So
he Prasad sent this question a million times here on the chat. How would I join you as an assistant?
You can't. My schedule is too sporadic. I get people asking if they can come on work experience. I'm like,
here we go.
Wong
sent a comment, but let's see. I think he translated right here. I'm in China. I don't have much chance to travel. I don't have much chance to pick up a camera. I'm about to forget what photography is. Yeah. So do you
buy books?
Buy books?
Yeah, read books. If you can't shoot, read books, absorb the information. I don't know what the political situation is like in China at the minute and whether he can get out and shoot, or I don't know what the reason is, but if it won't last forever. So yeah, get out.
Where's your favorite, not favorite, but what are some of the places that you would like to go do landscape outside? Have you been to the US?
Yeah, I've been to the US loads of times, too many times.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. I love it over there. Where did I go? I mean, man, Utah. You can't beat Utah. Zion.
Yes.
I went to the North Cascades National Park. Did all that beautiful hiking. Hiked a section of the Pacific Crest Trail. Yeah, man, the US has got everything. You guys are so lucky. You've got tropics. You've got snow and altitude and alpine mountains. You've got deserts. You've got all of the environments. So yeah, US is great, but no, there's so many places that I'd love to go and shoot.
There you go. Look, see, this is a perfect example here. Charles Davis, what's happening, man? This is a perfect example of somebody that can have success like you, Thomas, on YouTube with almost 500 or over 500,000 subscribers. But here, Charles found out about you through my mention. So, like I said, it's great, man. Coming out here, and by the way, Chuck, this is Thomas's first ever live stream. You know that?
Oh,
First
okay.
ever.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
think
great.
so.
You know,
I wouldn't. I
guess
wouldn't write that down. It might
well,
not be. But
I guess you talked to him about most people don't want to do a live stream because this is where your personality really comes out. I mean, and this is what makes you genuine to everybody, Thomas. I'll tell you right now, just looking at the comments, and I want to add to that. I don't follow somebody just because of their landscape photography, but they also have to be either teaching me something or it's just entertaining. You've
But yeah,
captured that.
that's the thing you've got, you know, and especially with the way that the algorithm seems to have changed recently. Like, you can't now just go out and shoot a video. You know, go out, set up a camera, explain what you're doing, take the picture, and leave. That's not enough anymore. You need story, you need personality, you need a bit of entertainment. You need to just give as much value as you can. And I find that educational value is great, but I like to just sprinkle that in because I think that if you go too educational, then what I find is that people are only there for the education, so they just want to get what they need to know, how to do X, Y, and Z, and then they're out of there. Whereas if you can just be entertaining and just give a few nuggets of information, but really the idea is that I make people want to go out and shoot. If you can instill that in somebody, if you can make them want to go out and get them excited for wanting to go out and shoot, then hopefully they'll come back.
Do you?
So yeah,
Matthew asked if you could pick digital or film for the rest of your life. What would you choose?
Digital. Sorry, I love film. I love it, but it's a great hobby for me. But digital has the versatility, and you know, it's safer. You know, if I got hired by, I don't know, Rolls Royce, and they wanted to go and shoot their new £1 million car, I wouldn't shoot it on film. But if I'm just out by myself, I love film because it's so tactile and it's such a good craft.
Yeah.
Although I wondered, you know what though, that question, if I was retired, right, and I just didn't do social media and I just purely shot for myself, I'd probably go film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diego,
I don't know.
thanks for the
Tricky
super
question.
chat. Diego, thanks for the super chat. Love your work, Thomas. What do you think of NFT?
Oh God! Oh man, I can't really show my political hand with all the NFTs. I'm going to divide the audience right in half. I don't do NFTs, but I have tried them. But the only reason I tried them is because I saw friends of mine selling images for a good amount of money, and any artist that can sell an image for money it's a good thing, right? There's this weird stigmatism around, you know, oh, you shouldn't be making money as a photographer. It's like, what? Yeah, you should. So like but the problem is there's a whole environmental issue, and I just don't know enough about that to really make a comment on whether it's good for the environment or bad for the environment, whether it's all just, you know, what's the word, like hyperbole and people exaggerating, or whether it is genuinely bad for the environment. I don't know. But ultimately, I stopped selling NFTs because I myself didn't see the value. Like, I wouldn't buy an NFT, and I don't understand them. I don't understand the value in owning. So I did it, but I only did it because I thought I could sell an image for like 200 quid. I was like, oh, that'll be good. Let's give it a go. Didn't sell. I was like, oh no, forget this. So I tried it once for like a couple of days and instantly regretted it. But I have nothing against those that do sell NFTs. But I personally don't understand it. I would much rather, hang on, let me just, let's get a little plug in. I hope you don't mind. I'd much rather sell a book, you know, like a physical thing like that. I feel good about selling that. But
can I see it again? The cover?
Yeah, plug your book, Thomas.
Oh, there we go. Landscape photography on location. Here's the best bit, right? So this is genuine. This isn't just a sales pitch. Let's see if we can do this live. So it's just like, you know, images and story. Each image has an accompanying story. So it talks about what I
Nice.
did in the field, what I was thinking when I shot the image, little comical things that happened. But if you go to the back of the book, here, you'll see that there's an index of QR codes. So you scan the QR code next to the image, and it takes you to a YouTube video where you can watch that image actually being created. So you can read about the image, look at the image, and then you can go, oh, I'm going to watch the video now. So most of the images in this book come with a QR code, and then you can watch the YouTube video and actually see this image being taken, how I captured it. And yeah, so it's kind of cool. It's
brilliant.
And it pulls everything together.
Where can somebody buy that?
Just on my website, which is thomasheaton.co.uk.
Do you sell your prints?
Not yet. I'm working on because the problem with selling prints is if I was to sell sort of limited edition bespoke prints, they take so long to produce. Because you essentially it takes a while to work on one single print. So I've looked. The thing with the book is I can order these in bulk, and then it's just one book, and you pack it and you ship it. Whereas prints, they're you can't just you can make a bulk prints, which is actually what I'm trying to do. So anyway, long story short, I'm selling prints, but I'm going to package them in print packs. So it'll be a pack of 5 prints, and they're all themed. Like I don't know, winter. I've got a film pack, so like 5 prints that were shot on film, that kind of thing. So I'm working on that and hopefully have them for sale in the next few weeks. But I don't sell individual prints, because if someone says, Tom, I want to buy this image on this print at this size, you got to think, okay, well, you got to get paper samples, and then you work out the size, and then you print one image. And by the end of that process, it takes a lot of time, and usually the price is quite high. So I just found it.
There's a question here. What is your favorite country to shoot in, and why? Not including Iceland.
Or the Faroes. I've never been to the Faroe Islands, but Iceland I've been to many times. Favorite country to shoot in and why? Got to be Namibia. Yeah.
Wow.
Why? Because there's nobody there. It's you can drive on dirt roads for 5 hours and not see a single vehicle or come across a single person. It's vast, and the people are so friendly and so chilled out, and the landscape is just like it's unlike anything. So
is this true, Thomas? I think landscape photographers generally don't like people.
Yeah, no, I love people. I just
around when you're working.
Just not when I'm working. Yeah.
So
no, I'm great. I have lots. I have a small group of very good friends, and I love meeting people. I love going out for drinks and having dinner. But when I'm with my camera, no, I need to be alone, because I'm indecisive. I take my time. I need to be entirely focused and entirely selfish. And when you're with people, you can't really be that way. So, yeah.
Do you do any street stuff?
I have done street, but no, I hate it as well. I'm too conscientious. I don't like pointing a camera in people's faces. I don't like being. I don't like lurking, and I feel like I'm being intrusive. I feel like people are watching me. I'm very self-aware when I try and do street photography. Shooting from the hip, I don't know. I just can't get away with it. I'm
Thomas, if you want to know how much of an impact you are on people, right now, Vahagan's at one of the highest view counts, people live watching you right now.
Wow, is that because I said I was going to get the Nikon Z7?
No, because I think there's a varied audience in here. It's just like my channel, maybe Nikon centric, but there are a lot of people that don't shoot Nikon. So no, it's a testament to what a draw you are, what an inspiration you are, brother.
No, yeah. That's very kind. I appreciate that. I really do. Yeah, that's nice. I don't really know what to say other than
here we go. Look, the legend, Thomas Heaton.
Yeah, that's weird, man. When you get, have you ever been recognized in the street from your YouTube channel?
At photo,
not for anything good.
Not for anything good. So yeah, this whole weird niche fame thing, I find it difficult to process. People recognize me on the street, and
you're like a musician that I love. The late great Neil Peart. He was like that too. He hated meeting the fans. He was shy.
I don't hate it. I just don't understand it. Like my ego doesn't like, I don't get an inflated ego. I'm just like, why do you care about me? I'm just seeing myself.
Remain humble, Thomas. That's part of your character, and I think that's one of the things that people love about you.
There we go. Martin Hill says Thomas is the first photographer YouTuber I ever wrote a comment because he is just so inspirational. Thanks, Thomas. Your content is really stunning.
Wow, that's awesome. I apologize for not replying. And maybe I replied to it. But yeah, I have a rule.
You can. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's hard because all these comments you're getting, with on the videos.
Yeah, I only reply for the first hour after a video's been uploaded. Because otherwise you're never out of it. Your head is just in the machine the whole time. And like I said before, we're not designed to take on the opinions of so many people. So I tend to read the comments for the first hour, and then I'll reply to them. And then I'll switch off. Yeah.
Do you do
to anybody?
Do you do any birding at all?
No, not really. I actually do like birding, I find it very relaxing and very peaceful. Not photography, not in this country. Our birds are all this big. It's possible, man. Well, Nikon can send me a bloody 1500mm lens. I'd go birding in Florida or in Africa where you have these huge pelicans and various other birds. But no, I like to go to bird hides and just watch. I can't identify half of them, but I love it. But I wouldn't call myself a birder. But it is. Woody, I would like to be one. I think it's a good thing to be. I do. It might have.
Hey, Woody. Woody says, "Wow, Vahagraphy hit the motherload of landscape photography guest." Thank you, Woody. Well, here's the thing with this show.
I love Woody's profile picture. I just need to point that out. Yeah. Is that a picture of Woody with his wife in the woods having dinner? Come on.
Yeah. Here's the thing with this show, Thomas. Like last week we had a wedding photographer on, Jerry Guiones. 2 weeks ago we had wildlife, and it's crazy. It's cool. We learn a lot too, because I don't do a landscape. I tried landscape. I think it's challenging.
Well, I think if you go out, it's weird. If you go out just to try landscape photography, then you might very well fail. But if you go out to enjoy the landscape and you just happen to have your camera on you, so you sort of shift your perspective. So you have to love the thing first and then shoot it second. I think if you go out, if you go out just to create a landscape image, you might get a bit frustrated. Whereas if you I just want to go for a beautiful hike today and watch the sunset, I'll take my camera. Then you're far more likely to find success because you're not trying to get that image. It just should naturally flow towards you.
Nice. Frames asks 100 to 400 versus 70-200. Which one?
1 to 4, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, because you extra reach. Yeah, you're losing that 30 mil from 70 to 100, but all of the extra, the amount of times I see stuff in the distance and don't have the reach to get it and pull it in.
And see, you're different in landscape photography because you don't care about it's an f4 across the board. You're probably shooting at, I don't know what you would shoot at, F8, 16, whatever.
Yeah, I'd rarely open up to those apertures unless woodland photography is great for those wider apertures, but f4's usually fine. Normally, the widest typically I'd shoot is f5.6 to get a nice soft background and isolate a subject. Occasionally,
not an issue with you either. Then I'm pretty sure. I mean, so you're not worried about that slowing the shutter down, other than maybe on a windy day.
No, the shutter speed for me is irrelevant. But on a windy day in the trees, that becomes annoying. You just have to up your ISO. But usually my priority typically, obviously need the correct exposure, but you want it to be as sharp as possible, as much detail as possible. So usually stop down to about f11. That's good. That
How often are you using filters?
Yeah, quite regularly. Certainly a polarizing filter. ND filters if you want to create that long exposure. And a graduated filter, although there is now an argument that you don't really need a graduated filter because the dynamic range of most modern day cameras is fine. You know, you can shoot for the highlights and then just lift up the shadows. But I don't know, I'm quite old fashioned. I like to drop in that grad and just see the whole image come to life. And I'm not a big fan of processing, so it saves me a bit more time.
So you mentioned though polarizer. So a polarizing filter, how important is that? Do you use it always, or is that just
not always? The thing with the polarizing filter is it's really the only filter that can't be replicated in post-production. So if you don't have an ND filter and you want a long exposure, you can just like take a load of images and average them together, and you'll get exactly the same effect as if you're putting on a 10-stop filter. Same with the graduated filter, just take 2 images and then blend them together. That's easy. But a polarizer, you can't do anything. You know, if you're photographing wet leaf, you know, if you're in a woodland, it's been raining and all the leaves are wet, the ground is wet, the rocks are wet, then all of that sort of slick surfaces, they're going to reflect light from the sky and above, and it means you're not able to see the texture and the detail of the thing that you're shooting. So a polarizer will eliminate that. I'm not really sure how it works, but it eliminates that frequency of light. Maybe, I don't know. But
yeah,
it takes away the reflections.
Tip number 3.
Michelle, find Thomas as much. I find Thomas has such a spiritual connection with the earth. That's awesome. Look at Nick's comment here. Hey, I'm not even interested in photography, but watch all Tom's videos.
Well, good. I hope you like my next one, Nick. The next one's good. I've really spent days working on it. Normally, I'll shoot one video. You know, it takes me half a day to make a video, typically. But this last video took me ages. so yeah, that comes out tomorrow.
You know, when you get non-photographers just loving your content.
That's great. I mean, that's because I don't, believe it or not, I don't focus too much on photography. I mean, I do. I go out and I take the images, but, you know, I don't get stuck in the technical details or the gear. You know, it's more about the subject than it is about me and the camera. So, I can see that a non-photographer might appreciate some of my videos.
Speaking about subjects, Jeffrey asked, do you incorporate animals in your landscapes as a secondary subject of interest? Oh,
yeah. I mean, I would love to. A landscape that is also a wildlife shot, for me, is a dream. It's the perfect combination. Imagine a beautiful desert sunset, and you've just got like an impala or something walking through, but you don't see it straight away. It's not the main subject, but as you look at the image, you start to, that. But again, this country, the UK, isn't known for its wildlife, really. You know, we don't have a great deal of it, so it's difficult to piece an image like that together. You know, if you're going into Scotland to photograph a beautiful landscape, you've got to pretty much hope and pray that you're going to have a stag walk into shot. So very difficult. But yeah, I mean, that's something that I would love to do, but I would probably do it, you know, I don't know, in the polar regions or in Africa.
George says, one of my favorite landscape photographers, and I always enjoy Tom's videos because he makes it feel that you were with him, venturing, getting the shot. Yeah, I mean, you have this easy style about you. You remind me of kind of like Morten Hilmer style.
Oh, Morten Hilmer's great. He's I was chatting to him recently. He's so enthusiastic. Oh my God. There's some wildlife walking the shot. It's like, and you know what it is though with Morten? He gets so enthusiastic. It's like, holy moly! It's all. I spent time with him. Me and Morten spent like 5 days in Svalbard, trekking across Svalbard because the snow melted, and we were supposed to go on skidoos, but we couldn't because there was a freak weather warming and everything melted. So we spent about 5 days trekking through Svalbard, photographing wildlife, and his enthusiasm and his upbeat. You know, I'm quite pessimistic and quite a cynical person. He's the opposite, and he's so like there was some reindeer, and to me the reindeer, although very cool, I wasn't that excited that they weren't in the snow. The snow had melted. It was all a bit messy, and they were quite far away. They were quite dirty because they've been on the ground rolling or eating or whatever. I'm like, oh,
Hey,
cool, right?
Thomas, I think you have an
Yeah.
audio problem.
Oh, that'll be my internet. Yeah, I did warn you. My internet's terrible.
It's your audio is flickering. I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of distortion.
Oh, is it am I too close to the mic?
Ooh.
How's this?
No, there's an echo. Talk real quick.
Where did that come from?
Is that better, Chuck?
No, it almost sounds like a connection issue.
It would be a connection issue. I have bad internet.
Yeah.
Connection issue.
Well, there's an impedance in the microphone. So I don't know what's interfering. It almost sounds like a mic connection or something like that.
Let me change phones.
If you try to yeah.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's better.
Yep,
Yeah.
you're good.
All right. What was I saying? Morton getting excited over reindeer that I didn't find exciting at all, but he was on all fours crawling in the snow. So excited. And it's all genuine. Everything you see in his videos is genuine. And I think that's really important if you're going to make YouTube videos.
Yeah, I've enjoyed following him. So who else do you follow? Or, I know your time is limited and you're a busy man, but are there any photographers or videographers or whoever on YouTube that you do follow and check out regularly?
Yeah, of course. I love YouTube. I think it's such a better platform than all these Netflix and TV shows and stuff, because you can find real golden nuggets in YouTube. So photographers, obviously, you've got the F4 crew, so that's Gavin Hardcastle,
Right.
Nick Page, and Adam Gibbs. Follow all of those guys. I love Ben Horn, Nick Carver. Them are two probably up there in the top. Those two, they're fantastic. Everything they put out, I'll watch. I'm trying to think of photographers who I watch that aren't landscapes. I don't know. I watch a lot of outdoorsy channels, like which is a great channel called Primal Outdoors. He's a guy who lives in his van, and he takes his van, got a big 4x4 van, and he goes off-roading and lives in the American wilderness, making campfires every night. So I love that kind of content. There's just like loads of stuff. It's too much. I could probably bring up my YouTube subscription page and have a look and reel off some names. But yeah, there's plenty.
There's a YouTube channel where the it's a female. She's living off the grid in a mobile in a truck. What was it? A truck, or it's a RV? I forget the name, but yeah, it's a great watch. She uploads a video every week, and in the United States, I forget the name, but it's a good channel. She just lives off the grid, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of that's the beauty of the age that we live in. Like, our passion can be our job, like no questions, no middlemen. Well, apart from the algorithm, which is a bit of a pain, but effectively no middleman, no manager, no gatekeepers. You can just, if people like it, then you'll be successful.
Here's a question for you: how did you get your start? When you begin photography? And
I started photography back in college, so 2000 when I left school. And I didn't really get a big break. It's just something that's slowly grown, it was never really a big surge. It's just something that gradually built over time. I started YouTube for fun because I couldn't find any of the content I was looking for. So I thought, I'll go and film the content myself. And it just gradually grew and grew. And after a few years of doing YouTube, it seemed to be sustainable as a living. So yeah, thought I'd take the plunge and go full time. And yeah, it's good. Never look back.
do you do meetups?
No, I'm doing one in September. But no, I've never really organized one. Just because I'm usually quite too busy. I see friends of mine have meetups, and they always look so much fun. I was chatting to my mate Simon, who has a YouTube channel, and we were saying that it'd be good to meet some people, have a meetup. But then we both agreed that if we were going to do it, we should do it like have some sort of structure to it. So we got a bit carried away, if I'm honest. We ended up hiring a venue, like a camping field and a barbecue and a big marquee, and we're gonna have a meetup, and people are gonna bring a print. So you bring a print, have a barbecue, chat. There's nothing. No, what's the word I'm looking for? Just relaxed, informal. Yeah. So we're doing that in September. But that
sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's full though. We could only have a capacity of 50 people because of the venue. So we limited it to 50 people, and we sold tickets, but it's like not for profit. We literally just the price of the barbecue and the venue and the camping field, we divided it by 50, and then that was the ticket price. So everyone's chipping in, and we all have hopefully a really cool day and talk photography, have a print. There'll be we're trying to blag some prizes from some sponsors. So if there's any manufacturers of gear watching this and you want to send us a couple of things we can give away as a prize, we'll take that. But
plug it, man. Let them know.
Yeah, should be fun.
Anybody that may be watching, anybody that might be watching and could support this, get a hold of Mr. Heaton.
Yeah, definitely. Anything you want to give away as a prize to somebody who's brought an excellent print.
So the thing is there's a lot of networking that we can do in live streams like this with the chat. You've got a lot of followers in here of you that are over in UK. And so anybody has the ability to reach out to somebody, let's network it for Thomas and make it a big day for their outing out to sit and have a big photo community chat and barbecue.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Go for it. And also, guys, follow Chuck's Talks too. AP Studios. He has 2 live streams a week where we talk photography. So AP Studios, Chuck Talks. Question for you as far as tripods go.
Okay.
What do you recommend?
Tripod. Anyone will do whatever you can afford.
Brand?
Well, I use iFootage, and I use that because it has a self-leveling base. So I shoot a lot of panoramic photography, and if you've just got a normal tripod with a ball head and you're trying to shoot a pano when you're rushing, you have to get your tripod and you've got to kind of lower one leg and then lower the other leg, and you have to get the base perfectly level, and it's a nightmare, man. It take ages, especially if you're on a hill. So the tripod I use, you just plonk the tripod down. It doesn't matter where you are, it could be all wonky, and then you've just got this base, and you level the base, and then ready to go and shoot. So that's what I use. But the tripods, obviously the problem with tripods is you want them for stability. If it's windy, you're going to need a big, heavy tripod. But as a landscape photographer, a heavy tripod is a bit of a burden if you're walking any kind of distance. So it's a compromise between lightweight and heavy rigidity. So yeah, I use carbon fiber tripods. They're really expensive, but they're super lightweight.
What tripod head are you using?
Sorry, which tripod?
What tripod head are you using?
Oh, I use I'll show you. All right. So this is it's a two-way head. So you can see it's not a ball head. So it only has 2 movements. So you can go left to right, or you can obviously tilt forwards and backwards. But it's this piece here which comes from the tripod. This is the bit that levels. So you have this in the tripod, and then you can just level it. And then once it's locked into place and level, you then just tilt and pan basically. But to use this, you need an L bracket on your camera. That's the only thing. Yeah, it's really
75 millimeter bowl, 75 millimeter bowl for that.
Yes, something like that. Let me see. No, I don't know. I've never measured it. So yeah.
So I have the Gitzo with a leveling base on it, and it gives me a little bit of latitude, like you were saying. I still have to go through the leg play if it's really off canter or whatever.
Yeah,
it is so much easier to fine tune it once you get it close.
It's really fast. You can just takes me like 3 seconds to get a level base. And it's ball heads. I never got on with ball heads because it was always whoop,
right.
rolling, and then it's really difficult to get everything perfectly set and level. So that was a solution.
So that's almost a pan tilt head. I guess it is, just without the handle. Okay.
Designed for wildlife, so it's a long lens. Long lens head. So for wildlife shooting, I think. Yeah,
a few people are talking about Acrotech. I have the Acrotech myself, but it's still a ball head.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, ball heads do have their uses, certainly. I mean, one of the downsides with this is if I want to shoot straight down to the ground, it's limited slightly.
Right.
But usually what I'll do then is just lean my tripod forward and keep an eye on it in case it falls over.
Mr. Alban, that's a cool picture there. That's a cool picture. So I want to ask you about going out and getting the shot. So has anything ever stopped you from getting the shot? Like, I guess I know the answer to this, but how does it make you feel when you go out to shoot and you don't capture what you're after?
I don't care anymore. It used to bother me a lot when I was starting out, because you feel the frustration. You have a full-time job, so you can't get out. Maybe you're limited to weekends, so you have very limited opportunity. This is your one chance, and then it doesn't work out. That's annoying. But because I do this full-time, I kind of, it's part and parcel of landscape photography. Most of the time, your expectations are usually higher than reality. So the higher expectations, the more often that you're disappointed. So I tried to just take everything at face value and have no expectations, and whatever happens, try and make the most out of the situation I'm in. If it's a technical reason why I don't get the shot, that's frustrating. Like, I've done it. We've all been there. Low battery, didn't bring a spare battery. That's bad. But typically, if the weather or the light doesn't work out, it's okay. There's always another day, so not too much of a problem.
Do you ever has something ever happened to you out? Like, what's the worst thing that's ever happened to you somewhere out and about?
In life?
No, when you're shooting. Well, yeah, in shooting.
Worst thing that's ever happened to me in shooting.
Like, have you dropped your camera? Broke?
Yeah, man, I've been through so many cameras. It's unbelievable.
Oh.
No, I don't know. No, I've been quite lucky. Probably the worst shooting experience I've ever had was when I quit my job to be full-time YouTuber. So I'd quit on the Saturday and then went on a big trip on the Sunday, and that whole trip was a bit of a disaster in terms of, it was terrible weather. It was a really bleak, empty environment, which didn't help my mood. It wasn't like I was having a trip to Hawaii. I was in the flipping Outer Hebrides of Scotland in terrible weather, and I was just so depressed. I was like, I've just made a terrible mistake. What have I done? I've just
you regret,
and then just panic attacks, like immediate regret, thinking, what have I just done?
But I think it worked out.
Yeah, well, it worked out so far. It's worked out. I mean, God knows what the lifespan of social media photographer is. Who knows? Probably not more than a few more years. But it's worked out so far. So,
have you received any work from big publications? If so, how did you approach them?
Have I just had one recently? Yeah. So typically, I don't approach people. I don't like approaching people. I don't approach manufacturers. I don't approach sponsors. A lot of people will approach sponsors and say, hey, I've got this channel, do you want to sponsor me? Or, hey, can I do this? And I don't. I hope that things come my way, and then it puts you in a stronger negotiating position then as well if they've approached you. So firstly, I don't approach people. I'm too scared of rejection, if I'm honest. But who is it? Someone is licensing. Why can't I remember? Somebody is licensing an image, and they're a big company, big brand, and I didn't know what to charge them. And as I thought about it, my price went up and up and up. And then it's going to be this much. and they instantly accepted it. And then I thought, oh man, I should have charged more. Who was it? I don't even know if I can say.
What was your career before you went full time in photography? What was your career before?
I worked for an events production company, so a company that staged live events. So audio, visual, sound, lighting, design. Your typical conference center AV technician. That was me. I used to set up the projectors, film the video.
Are you thinking about diving deeper into infrared photography?
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah, I've got my video that comes out tomorrow is infrared. Because it's just so much fun and it's new. Well, for me, it's new. It's exciting. It's different. So yeah, I think my plan is to use it as a secondary camera. So if I go on a photography trip somewhere, I'll have my usual camera, which would be my GFX, but I'll also keep the infrared camera because there's so much to explore, and I still don't know what's going to look good and what's not going to look good. So I could be photographing a scene and just have a quick glance with the infrared camera and it looks amazing. So yeah, lots to explore with that for sure. And I think it's such a great creative tool and it's so accessible. You don't even need to get a camera converted. You can just buy filters. So it's
nice.
pretty.
Hey Chuck, has this question been asked? The F4 disbanding question been already asked or answered? Anyone who was
Well, I don't know if it was before I got in here, but I mean, we haven't asked that particular question.
What's the question?
Has the F4 disbanding question been already asked or answered? Anyone who was from the start of the stream. So were you asked in the beginning there about the F4 disbanding?
No. I was hoping nobody would bring that up.
What is that? I don't even know.
So you can just pass by it if you like.
No, I'm joking. F4 is it's like imagine a band, but instead of musicians, it's photographers. So a group. There's 4 of us. We called ourselves F4.
Oh wow!
So we went on a month-long road trip in a 1970s trailer.
And if you haven't seen it, you got to go watch it, everybody.
Full of
I'm
rap.
gonna check it out. It's on your channel?
It's gone. Doesn't exist anymore. We got rid of it. Yeah, it was it was a fantastic. Imagine Top Gear, but photography. That's what it was like. An adventure full of chaos and mischief and photography and.
Is this on your channel?
Sorry?
Is this on your channel?
No, it's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. Only exists to the people who purchased it last year.
Wow. Okay.
So we had it for sale for a limited amount of time, and then when it's gone, it's gone. It's like
Vahagan, this is what we were talking about doing. Mozman just brought it up.
Okay.
Same type thing. Traveling across the U.S. in a motorhome. A bunch of photographers just getting in trouble and
that'd be awesome.
Having fun.
We got into a lot of trouble. Like comically, like setting up funny skits, but actually getting into trouble as well. Yeah, it was fun. It was a good time.
I don't know about the getting in trouble part, but
Yeah.
Let's see. Random asks Tom, love your work. Have you ever considered going back to Nepal, even if it was solo?
I don't know if I would go back to Nepal. I had a really hard time in Nepal. It was beautiful, obviously, fantastic experience, but it was really hard. Like altitude for a prolonged period of time. And it was a great experience, but I didn't find myself desperate to go back. Maybe I would do a different circuit, different route. Maybe try and stay below 5,000 meters. That might help.
Have you been to South America?
Yes, yeah. I've done Patagonia a few times. So Chile and Argentina. Phenomenal.
Nice. Here's one more question. Here we go. Do you do Jeffrey, do you do HDR at all? What are your feelings about HDR?
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny one, that isn't it? Because HDR, I mean, it's high dynamic range. If you shoot with a Sony, you're technically doing HDR because it's such a vast range. But I guess what you're referring to is that souped up HDR look where you really lift out the shadows, drop the highlights, and you get this really sort of painterly effect. I don't do that. I like to keep things realistic looking and actually quite dark. Rather, I think all of the mystery lies in the shadows. So I don't like to lift my shadows too much. And HDR, typically you would associate lots of shadow detail with that. So that's not a style that I lean towards. But yeah, hey man, I have no opinion on it. It's anybody that's creating, whether they're putting in fake skies or doing HDR or compositing images, it's fine.
Hey, Vahagan, Oracle Test Lab has a good question in there. It's a few questions in one, but I know a lot of people, this is something that's on their mind. We've asked everybody this same question.
Is it possible?
Is it possible to be a full-time photographer with landscape photography? Yeah, totally. Like first of all, you have to create the work, and then you need an audience, because I don't know. I mean, people might tell me otherwise, but I don't know if there's much opportunities commercially for landscape photography. But in terms of education and tour leading, like taking people on workshops, there's definitely opportunities there. Yeah, it is difficult, but anything worth doing is difficult. So.
And you might get lucky and sell a print for a few $1 million, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, you could do it. Peter Lick sold one for several million.
Yeah.
So apparently, allegedly, I don't think anyone saw the tax records for that. But
let's do this before we wrap up here. We'll take a couple of calls. If there's any callers want to ask Thomas Heaton a question live on the air, go ahead.
Have you ever had any callers that just come on and troll your listener?
We got a phone call, Chuck, and not yet. Oh, okay. I thought you were talking to somebody.
No, I just mute so that when they call, it doesn't disturb the conversation.
So yeah, man. This was great, Thomas. Like I said, you inspire me to go out and try my hand in some landscape. I think it's a good, peaceful way to just go out and just by yourself and enjoy nature too. It's not all about the photography.
It's a good way of adding purpose to a walk. If you're on vacation and it's a lovely evening and you just want to go for a walk, if you have your camera, it just adds a bit more purpose. So you might go on a longer walk, or you might take a trail that you've not been down before. It gets your brain working a bit as well, which is nice.
Nice. Image rather than taking a picture. I guess I have a question on Instagram for you. Can you explain your process? What's your process of creating an image rather than taking a picture?
Yeah, it's just about being mindful and purposeful about what you're shooting. So I guess the main difference between taking, a bit of a cliche really, but taking and making a photograph. I think if you take a photograph, then you're not really putting much thought into what you're not crafting the image. You're just kind of seeing something and you go, oh, cool. And that works, nothing wrong with that at all. Maybe you have really good intuition and that works. But making an image, you see something and you go, oh, hang on a minute, let me just zoom in, change lenses, basically you're making an image as good as you can possibly make it. So taking an image is recognizing a subject and taking the photograph. Making an image is recognizing a subject and then just spending a bit of time just to finesse it. That's really, I don't know, that's probably just the difference,
That the question was from Nilo Fido. Thanks, Nilo. So yeah, man. Like I said, you inspire me to go out. I'm gonna try. I tried landscape the other day. It was fun. We were out. And I said, let me take my camera. But we did other activities. But one day I'm gonna just go and try it. Go for a hike, and here we go. We got a phone call. We got a phone call. Chuck's queuing it up right now for you.
All right, we have Charles Davis on the line. Charles, go ahead.
Thomas, you've traveled a lot to the U.S. and other countries. Do you notice a different mindset or a different approach with photographers depending on where they live?
I don't know. That's a good question, Charles. I'm not really sure. I can't say that I have noticed a different mindset. No, most photographers I see in the field are very respectful of the environment. You know, they don't go trampling flowers, and they respect all of the other photographers around them. So, but I think that's more to do with the genre of landscape photography. You know, it might be different in other genres. I'm not sure, but no, man, we all just have this worldwide mutual respect for each other and what we do. So, yeah, definitely no difference between, you know, somebody in America or Europe or the UK or Africa. No, everyone's more or less the same.
Did you get that, Charles?
No, I'll have to watch it later. Okay, that was my only question.
All right, cool.
All right, I'll go back and watch it later.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Charles. Bye.
I love that. No, that was a good question. So yeah, if there's no other callers, Chuck, any last questions for Mr. Heaton?
Yeah, well, I just want to point out Corners of Korea posted here. He said, "Hello from South Korea. I bought your photo book, and please know there is a fan in Korea."
And it arrived. It made it all the way to Korea. I ship everything myself. So yeah, I've packed it and shipped it. Probably looked at the address in Korea and thought, oh, that's not going to get there. I have so many problems with these faraway locations, especially during COVID. Man, the amount of books I'd returned during COVID, flipping heck. But yeah, I'm glad it got there. I'm glad it arrived safely. So that's awesome. Thanks.
That's awesome, man. You inspire, like, even making these photo books with stories. You write them yourself, the story? Like,
yeah,
obviously, yeah, you write it, and that's so great. Like the photo book, hardcover. I've always wanted to do something like that.
Oh, you should. It's such a nice thing to, just to have a physical thing that you've created and crafted. It's hard work. Like, to me, years to write, but it's worth it. Totally worth it. And you're right. It's like, sounds silly, but it's like it's like a real book. Do you know, like a real book? Like it's something you would buy in a shop. It's not, it's not something that you've got from Vistaprint that's been stapled together. It's like a real, it's got that smell and everything. Yeah, it's cool. I'm so proud of it. The novelty will never wear off. It's
Mike says, come to the Midwest for the best sunsets over fields of gold and green.
Oh, I'd love to.
I can already envision it.
Midwest. What's Midwest then? Where's that?
Chuck knows.
That's out in the Plains states, Iowa, Illinois, not Northern Illinois, Kansas.
Big skies. Yeah. Open space. Warm.
Yeah.
Food. Oh, I'd love to.
What keeps you motivated to keep shooting in the summer months?
The algorithm. No. Infrared now. But you just gotta, feed the machine, man. I mean, I can't complain about I can't complain that I have to go out and photograph in the warm sunshine. What does that make me? I have the best job in the world. So no, I'll give myself a slap around the face and say, what are you doing? I haven't even got a job, so I can't complain about having to go out and take pictures in summertime. So I just have a quick word with myself. I do like to complain about it, but yeah, still.
When you made your book, was there a minimum quantity you had to make? Where was it made?
Yeah, it was made in Italy, and there is a minimum quantity. There are book manufacturers out there where you can make a book and like literally order one copy, but it's so expensive per copy. And that's great if it's a gift for your friends and family and you just want it for yourself. But if you want to sell them, you need to order big, because the price dramatically comes down per unit or per copy. So yeah, if you just go ahead and order 100 copies, it's going to cost you like £100 a book. But if you go ahead and order 1,000 copies, then that price is going to come right down. And then if you go ahead and order 5,000 copies, it's going to come down again. But then when you order 5,000 copies, you need to rent storage to store them all. So then the prices go. So
Yaman asks, "Hey Tom, did you convert a camera or bought one converted? How much did it cost?"
So it's my camera, and I sent it away to a company who convert them, called Protec Photographic, and it cost me £260 for the conversion. So I thought that was good. You know, you buy a lens for 260 quid, it's a bargain, right? So
I never been to the UK, man, but if I come, it'll be fun to just talk photography with you and then chit chat. And we have a Nikon shop out there. Have you been to Gray's of Westminster? Have you heard of them?
I don't go to London.
Oh,
not a London person. I can't handle London. No, it's all right. I've been to London a couple of times, but no. I tell you, if you're going to come to the UK, come to the north. Open spaces, beautiful landscapes, mountains.
How far are you on a drive from London?
6 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, but the problem with London is you can't drive to London. Every time you drive into London, you have to pay £12.50. And then when you drive out of London, you've got to pay £12.50.
Yeah, that's
in and out and around London, and you're getting charged. The cameras get you. No, you're in London. You've got to pay. You've got to pay to be in London. So
I'm only about an hour away from New York City, and I very rarely go down there. However, next week, I guess I'm heading to New York City with the wife, and I want to do a photo get together. So I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. Maybe we can do some street photography, but that's the only reason I want to go to New York City.
Yeah. Now, London's good for a weekend if you go in to the theatre and you want a bit of food and culture. It's great. But every time I go to London, it's just so full on. You know what I mean? And there's just people, and they're all doing their own thing. And because where I live, man, there's nothing here. It's beautiful. It's quiet. It's peaceful. And I know everybody around. It's just a different world. I guess it's the same when you go to New York or LA.
Oh yeah. It's its own world. It's a world within the United States.
Yeah, like London itself. London is like its own country. It's weird. It's got, it's if you want to see England, don't necessarily go to London because you'll get London. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I can relate it to New York City. I feel you.
Yeah.
Or Los Angeles versus up north somewhere. So hey, there you go, George Robinson. I just bought your book right now. Looking forward to it.
Oh, fantastic! Thanks, George. I'll send it tomorrow.
So this is cool. Like, like people sell presets and stuff like that on YouTube. I think it's so much more valuable when you give that personal touch of a photo book. And
my hope is that when I die, in 100 years, I'll be dead sooner than that. But when I die, in 100 years from now, my book might still be sitting on a shelf in a doctor's waiting room or somewhere. It's got to be. There's quite a lot out there, and they're not just gonna. They'll end up in charity shops. They'll be donated. Some of them will just So it's nice. It's a good feeling. That's why I like physical things.
That's awesome. I mean, good on you, man. Good on you. I mean, that's something that I really want to do in the future. So, this was great, Mr. Heaton, Thomas Heaton. I had a great time, and you inspired me to go out and shoot. So, Chuck, last words of to Mr. Heaton.
No, again, I go back to just we do this constantly. Look at see how many people are actually watching live, and you've hit a benchmark, I think, and that's testament to who you are, Thomas. And you seem to be very humble. That's what live streams are all about. A lot of people don't want to do them because they really don't want to show who they are. But I think everybody kind of falls in love with you all over again, even though they've been following you on your YouTube channel. and it's just a great opportunity to talk to the man behind the picture. So thank you very much.
Cheers, no problem. Thank you for having me, and thanks to everybody who's commented. I'm just reading them now.
This was a relaxed chat, and you were just, like I said, a chill guy. You know.
Well, if you ever come to the UK, we'll definitely have a beer.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Don't get sucked into London, man. It's all everything's up north.
I'll bring my Z9 and I'll Nikon Z9. And
is there a commuter airport up where you live rather than having to drive it?
Yeah. Big airports up here. London, Manchester, Glasgow, Newcastle. Yeah, all good. We've got everything you could ever need apart from a Nikon shop. But we have Wex Photographic, so that's good.
There you go.
Oh yeah. What is it called? Wex?
WEX, Wex.
Yeah, it's basically like it's the UK version of BH. Is it BH? B&H?
B&H or Adorama, yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly the same, but our version.
Now I'm subscribed to them too. I just got a notification they're doing something else here while we're on.
I gotta check that F4 out, man. Now that you're telling
you can go on my channel and just type in F4 trailer, and you can see what we get up to. Yeah, maybe somebody who's watching this has the files. Lots of people have it. We've sold it and people downloaded it, so I'm sure you can get a copy somewhere.
All right.
I know you can. We had a nightmare with people pirating it. Oh God. Nothing.
Nilo says, Thomas, I challenge you to come and do landscapes in the nature of London.
Oh yeah, you know what? My video tomorrow is very much urban landscapes, and London. I'm telling you, London. Yeah, London's cool. There's architecture merged with sort of these green spaces, so you can get these kind of nice street landscapes, and that's an area that really fascinates me. Yeah, I'm only joking when I diss London.
No, I know, man. I know.
You speak ill of London. That's just what we do.
Like here in LA, I don't live in LA. Like if I go to the west side of Los Angeles, it's hectic over there. Where all the celebrity Beverly Hills. I never go there.
No.
It's because I just don't like all these. It's too crowded, too congested. But no, I know what you're talking about. But real quickly, guys, if we have these every Tuesday live streams. So if this is your first time on this channel, Vahagraphy, we're giving away Photo Gear 2, and I'll be announcing the winner on a communities post. Actually, I'm going to announce 32 finalists, and then we'll narrow it down. So like and subscribe to be entered to win Vahagraphy. Also, we have live streams every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Chuck Talks, thank you for being here, and a big thank you to Mr. Heaton. He was great, and thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it big time.
No problem. You're welcome. It's been great. Nice.
And also, one last plug: Chuck Talks on AP Studios. Check out his channel, and 2 live streams a week, Wednesdays and Saturdays. Talk photography. Yep. So,
Thomas, you got to come back sometime.
Yeah, I'll come back. Yeah, this is fun.
You did great for your first time. I mean,
sorry, it's not still live, are we?
Yeah,
we are 148.
Yeah,
live viewers right now.
I just did that she said joke. That's all right. I'm allowed to do that. Get away with
that. So anyway, thanks, guys. Thank you, Thomas, Chuck, everybody in the chat. You guys make this thing go round and round, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you for asking the questions, and we'll see you guys soon. All right, guys. This is Vahagraphy and Vahagraphy Talk, and I always like to end it, Thomas, with a big rock and roll. So rock and
there we go.
Rock and roll, guys. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Rock and roll.